This is task 1C part 1, where you're asked to create a booking form to view the bookings that churches have made for the festival. So on the right hand side of the screen you can see a sample layout. This is only suggested, you don't have to do it exactly like this, but it's a good starting point to go with. Now what we've got to do is we've got to get all this data onto the screen. So we're going to create our form and we're going to use the form wizard, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the data for the booking, which is these fields here. So if we make sure we've got the booking table, and we'll add all the fields on for the booking table. Now let's have a look at what other data we need. Well, we need to have some information about the pitch allocation. We need to be able to see the description of that pitch and the pitch type ID. That all comes from the pitch table, and then we need this information from the pitch type table, the quantity of the adults, the children and the price charged. So what we'll do is we'll go to pitch type and we'll add on the pitch type ID and the description, and we'll go to pitch allocation and we'll add on the quantity, the adults, the children and the price that was charged. Now because we've set up relationships, Access will recognise that all this data is linked. And you can see here it's automatically suggesting that we should group it or organise it by the booking. We don't want to do it by pitch allocation because then it will just be one record per screen. Pitch type will make a right mess of things, so we just want it to be by booking. So we see the data about booking and then a list of all the pitch types. And what it will do is it will create a subform for us. Now when you set up how you want it to be laid out, it makes it a lot easier for you later on if you set it as tabular. This makes it easier to organise the fields down here. You can still do it as datasheet, but tabular makes it a lot easier to manage. If we continue through, what are we going to call our form? Well, we're told that it must be called booking details. And then I've got pitch allocation subform. Sometimes it's useful to say where that subform is. So I'm going to say it's in the booking details. And if we click on finish, you'll see the basics of what we get. So here's our form. It's not in house style. So the first thing that we'll need to do is set up the house style. Now you can do that quite easily for the form itself, and you change your colors here. Now you can see there that I haven't actually set up the main color since I last used Access, so I've got to go back through and choose the color. But to do the subform background, you need to click on these parts here, and that will then let you do the subform. You'll be able to change all the data here as well. You may find that it's useful to move the title pitch allocations up here, and then move this and the subform down a bit and make pitch allocations a subtitle, and even put a space in there. You can move things around on the screen, but you don't have to. It's up to you how you want to lay it out. Then we're going to go on to do some of the basic things. It asks for a button labelled View Church to open a form that will view details of the church that made the booking. So if we go to Design tab, and we'll create a button here, and we're going to go through the process of a button that will open a form, because that's what we want it to do. We want it to open the church form. So there's the form that we want it to open, church details, and we want it to open the correct church for that booking. So I'm going to open the form and find specific data to display. Now we've got to match the data up. So it's the church ID on this side, which is the booking form, must match the church ID on the church form. What are we going to call it? Okay, well, View Church is what we're told in the question, so we'll do that. And I'm going to create a button name called Button View Church, just in case I need to refer back to it. Now what we can do is test it. So we'll go into View. We'll just go through a couple of these. So we've got Church ID 5. If I click on View Church, there we go, Church ID 5. Brilliant, that's that button working. The next thing that you asked for are check boxes that should be used for the reminder letter, phone call reminder, and paid. Now these checkboxes already exist, as you can see here. And that is because you set them up as checkboxes in the table view. You set them up as yes, no fields, and it's automatically pulled them through. So there's nothing to do there. What we're going to do is leave the total price and the validation part for a moment, and we'll come back to that in a second. We'll have a look at this. All the pitch allocations for the current booking should be displayed. So if we have a look, we've got quantity, adult. It's not quite showing everything else. Well, that's quite simple to solve. Okay, we just extend the size of this. We can move things around if we want to, but I'm just going to make this bigger. It should have everything fitting on. The only thing is the price charged. Okay, that's a little bit too big for what we need it to be. So I'm just going to grab that and make it a little bit smaller. And you should then see that everything will nicely fit on to our subform. And we'll have all of that data. So let's have a look. There it is. Okay, the next one that we're going to have a look at is the record selectors and standard navigation buttons. So the whole form should be removed. So we're going to go into design view. We're going to select the form like we did for the scroll bars on the other form. We're going to go to properties of that form, and we're going to remove under format the record selectors. So here we change this to be no, and we're going to remove the standard navigation buttons. So we'll select no for that as well. Now it does say the whole form, so just in case we're going to do it for the subform as well. So if I click on this bit here, that will select the subform, and I can do the same there. So we'll remove the record selectors and say no, and we'll remove the standard navigation buttons and we'll say no for those as well. Now just in case, I'm just going to make my subform a little bit bigger, because I know that I can't get any scroll bars or record selectors, so I'm going to make sure that it's big enough. There we go. No record selectors, no standard navigation buttons. And finally, we're asked to create some customized buttons for navigation. So I'm going to create a button here, and I'm going to show you how to do one of these and you can do the others. So we've got record navigation, and I'm going to do this one, which will be go to first record. You're also going to do find next record, go to previous record, and go to last record. So go to first record, click on next. I'll leave it as the picture. Click on next, call it BTN first, click on finish. There's my button. I've just got to repeat that for the other 3 types of navigation button. So you now need to follow the tutorials for the validation rule and the calculations, and then your form will be completed.